I was in radio forever, and I don't remember ever hearing an ad saying, come in this weekend and get 10% off for veterans. Nobody was doing it. They were given those discounts if you asked for it or something. We just felt it was important to get the word out that these places are supporting veterans. They just hadn't got the word out.
One of the things that I love about the Lake of the Ozarks, and this might be in other communities as well, but I live here now full time, is the incredible support that surrounds veterans. I just feel it in so many different businesses. I know so many people involved that are veterans that are involved with various charities and giving back. And today, as you can guess, is where that conversation is going, because I'm here with Jeff Carr, who is the founder of the Veteran Discount Guide. Says it right here. Let's support the businesses that support our veterans. And we're going to talk about this guide today, because if you haven't found or seen one of these around the Lake of the Ozarks, you need to get one of these, because it's exactly what it says it is. Jeff, welcome, brother.
Thank you, Jeff.
So,
my pleasure.
You're kind of an OG down here. You've been a Laker for a long time. You've been involved with a lot of different businesses. So for those that may not know who you are, who's Jeff Carr?
Well, we were tourists down here like everybody else. It seems like everybody made the trip down here when they were kids, and we were the same way. Back in the 70s, we were weekenders. We got a place down here. Eventually, I decided to move down here and graduated from high school. I'm an Osage alum back in a long time ago. Didn't think I'd ever come back. Got into radio, was in Joplin, thought, oh my goodness, it's time for me to go to the West Coast and make it big. And I got a call from a radio station here at the lake. Next thing you know, I'm back and never left.
How long ago was that?
That was 92, 92, 93. Before that, in between high school and that, I was in the Navy for 3 years and did some reserve time. Father was a Navy guy. Family has always served. My sister was a VA nurse. My little sister was a Coast Guard. So we have a lot of military ties. And on the air, back when I used to work at Mix 92.7, one of the things that I got excited about was Veterans Day and all the things that the lake was doing for veterans during that time. Hy-Vee would do a free breakfast, or somebody would do some kind of deal. They'd have a meet and greet someplace for veterans. And I thought, boy, wouldn't it be great to have all this information in one place? It's just a thought, just an idea. I started writing things down. Thanks to my wife, who is really the brains of the operation. Katie, thank you very much for being a part of this whole thing and making it happen. We decided to put together a list of businesses and organizations and charities that helped out veterans, were veteran owned, did their part for veterans, and all of a sudden it just started going crazy. I checked with all the chambers first to find out if you were doing 10% or 5%, and the list was on and on and on and on, but they weren't advertising it. I thought, it's time to do this. We checked with the whole country to find out if there was anybody else doing anything like this. Nobody was.
Really?
And I thought, boy, the lake really could use this. We're a tight-knit community. We take care of those who served. And if I could just put together a book and get some advertisers to help us out, maybe we can get the word out about those veteran-owned businesses and places that give a discount for veterans. And a bonus on top of that is we've helped out some veteran charities too, which has been just a great sidelight of this whole thing. So my background, 25 years in radio at Mix 92.7, 3 years of doing this. So my world has kind of changed again. You know, when you're getting up early and doing a morning show and that kind of stuff, it's one thing. Now it's all about veterans, veteran businesses, and veteran charities. So that's
awesome.
where I love this.
I love it. I love it. So you are a veteran yourself. What is it that you feel like creates that culture here? Again, I think veteran support is everywhere in this country. But coming from a big metro area, maybe I just didn't feel it as much because it's so much more spread out. And I'm not a veteran. I come from a veteran family. I've got several grandpa, uncles, etc.
You're the kind of people that we want to talk to, besides veterans too. We want to talk to people who have that history with veterans in their family and see a restaurant or a roofer or a deck company or a chiropractor or whatever that supports veterans, and you're thinking, grandpa served, I'll call them first. Yeah. And that's what we're looking for.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Why do you think it is? Is it because, you know, the people that come here, is it the vacationers, is it the retirees? What is it that causes the lake to be so veteran friendly?
Well, we've seen actually, as far as numbers go, we've seen about a 4 or 5% higher population of veterans moving to the Lake of the Ozarks than anywhere else in the state. So we've got a solid contingent of veterans. I think a combination of Fort Leonard Wood, Whiteman being so close is part of that. I think you see retirees coming down here. The population of veterans, it seems like, was higher, say, in my day. So you go back to the 80s and the 90s. So those people are retiring and they're coming to the lake. So I think that's part of it. Patriotism, of course, plays a big part of that as well. I think people are seeing maybe how Vietnam veterans weren't treated all that well. It's time to make up for those sort of things. We take care of those that served in Afghanistan and Iraq. You've got those people that are getting out and looking for a place to go that's friendly to them. So that combination of things, I think, has made all the difference in the lake being just a notch above as far as taking care of our veterans.
Yeah, and it really is. And if you've never experienced it and you come down here, I think you would notice it if you spend any amount of time down here. So as it relates to this, you said that what caused was your inspiration to build this thing was it didn't exist.
Yeah.
And it's a great idea. And now you've done some homework on this. You've been doing it for 3 years. Has anybody kind of taken your idea and run with it in other markets?
No. And it's a conversation that we constantly have about expansion, about taking it to maybe Branson or Springfield or Jeff City or those kind of things. But what I have found is, since my wife and I are both, now I consider locals, high school for me, my wife's been down there for 25 plus years helping people with mortgages, we found that personal connection's a big part of it. Now, will one day somebody call me up from Branson and say, hey, we'd like to do this idea and take this? I think it's going to happen eventually, and maybe it's just going to be an online presence. Maybe we'll just have a website in one of these other places. But right now, it's about personal relationships. Almost everybody in there I know personally, from not just from calling on them about the magazine, but from radio, from the charity functions that my wife and I have been involved with. I've been the MC for every charity event here at the Lake of the Ozarks through the radio station. My wife was a Kiwanian with Christmas for Kids for years, so we've been involved in civic organizations and charitable organizations. So there's a lot of personal relationships when it comes to the lake, and we're really happy with this just being a lake thing. Will it expand with somebody's help? Possibly, but right now I'm really happy just telling people all over the country that Lake of the Ozarks supports veterans. These are the places that you should go when you come down here. Pick up a copy and help those folks out.
Now, you mentioned it's a guide, but it's not just a guide. It doesn't appear to be. Tell somebody what they are going to get when they pick one of these up.
Well, a veteran is going to get a lot of information about veteran charities, about veteran organizations and VA information, government organizations. All that stuff is in there as well. So I want to make sure that is a part of it. It's a good resource guide for a veteran, which
especially somebody maybe moving here to the lake.
Sure, right. And there's also national stuff in there as well. We want to make sure that veterans knew about their benefits programs and stuff like that. That's important. But the other part of it is, we don't think that the businesses that were given a 10% or whatever discount were telling enough people. I was in radio forever, and I don't remember ever hearing an ad saying, come in this weekend and get 10% off for veterans. Nobody was doing it. They were given those discounts if you asked for it or something. We just felt it was important to get the word out to people that were coming here to the lake for a weekend or to move, that these places are supporting veterans. They just hadn't got the word out. The other thing is, we want to make sure that people know of these veteran-owned businesses and support those places. Give you an example, my friend Billy Borders from Little Rizzo's and from Barbecue, he's a Navy veteran. He doesn't tell people about that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to let people know that not only does he have great food, but Billy served. Now, does that move you from going into that place instead of going to someplace else? We hope so.
Yeah.
The other thing is, we came up with a program called Helping Heroes. There's businesses in there you'll see that don't do a discount and don't have veteran-owned business. So what we decided to do for real estate agents that aren't veterans, lawyers, insurance companies, a lot of those businesses that can't do a discount or aren't veteran-owned, we've had them make a donation to one of the vetted charities that we have in here. We have 4 vetted charities. One's very local. It's called Heroes Outreach. John Morlock, who's somebody I highly encourage you to talk to. We also help out Wake for Warriors, who we got in contact with through Marine Max. They do amazing things on the water. Really a great lake event. And we also have 2 others called Folds of Honor, which is a national organization through Budweiser. They give scholarships to fallen vets' families. And then in Columbia, we have Welcome Home, which works with homeless vets, make sure we get them housed, that kind of thing. So those are the 4 vetted charities. So you as a business who aren't a veteran or can't give a discount can make a donation to one of those. And so far, we've given about $15,000 to, we haven't, our customers have, and made a donation to them. We give them props for doing that. They find out more about these veteran charities. We get the word about them out. More people are donating, begets, and they get to go in the magazine and tell people that they support those veteran charities. They support veterans. So those are sort of the 3 categories that you're going to find in there. But our reference guide for veterans is important.
That's this.
Yeah, right. And we're really excited. We've got way more than that. We also help out with some veteran programs in there too. Reads Across America, which is a fantastic organization. Suits for Soldiers is another one that helps out veterans here at the Lake of the Ozarks. We've got a few more of those in there. So it's not just about money. It's not just about the bottom line. It's about helping veterans in any way we possibly can.
And just looking through this, it's a good mix too, because it's not, like you said, it's not all necessarily discounts. In some cases, some of these quote unquote ads are really just a thank you.
Yeah.
They're just saying thank you for your service, which I think is really cool. Now, I also noticed there's a business spotlight.
Yeah.
How do you decide who you're going to spotlight there?
That particular one that we had with Maid Squad, they gave 100 free cleanings to veterans.
Oh, wow.
So that was a
They earned
no-brainer.
it. They earned it.
They earned it. We didn't go looking for that spotlight.
Yeah.
It just came upon us.
Yeah.
I'm not even 100% sure we're going to have one in the next edition of
Sure.
2026, but that was one that we just thought, wow, they are going above and beyond to help veterans. We just wanted to make sure that those places got the recognition they deserve.
Yeah,
And you see in there too, we're involved with a lot of veteran charities and events.
Yep.
The Veteran Day Parade, which I think is terribly under attended in Osage Beach. I think that should be bigger than the St. Patrick's Day Parade. I think it should be a monster.
Sure.
And we're working to make sure that that's an event that goes.
And is that on Veterans Day every year?
It's
or
actually
is it on
the
weekend before?
Saturday before.
Okay.
And that's thanks to our friends at the Elks Lodge in Osage Beach. They put that on every year.
Awesome.
We'd love to tell more people about that. But there's more than that. There's a lot of other veteran events in there that you can find out about. We're working with individuals, veterans, to bring more of that kind of stuff to the Lake of the Ozarks.
Is there a capacity as to how many businesses can be involved in this?
No, not really. As far as that goes, I'm starting to learn that printing has rules as far as how many pages you can have. So where we're at now at 96 pages, I can't just add one more page, or at least financially I can't add one more page.
Sure.
So I'd have to jump up, I think it's 12 more pages, something like that. So we didn't turn anybody away, but I kind of stopped looking after a while. It's a good size. I love that that size is sort of Reader's Digest size. You can throw it in your purse, you can throw it in your center console of your truck, you can throw it in your back pocket when you're walking around.
It's almost vintage in a way.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We actually stole that, and I'll give props to Mike Swift. We actually stole the idea from Get Down Guide.
Yeah, of course.
And speaking of Mike and a lot of other people, we didn't know what we were doing when we started this. A friend of ours named Herman Page was a big part of this, who started this. He has a real estate guide, passed away about a year ago. Mike Swift from Get Down Guide. We talked to just business owners and people who were involved in publications and stuff like that. And we had so much support, so much information given to us. We had no idea, and there was no way to even go someplace and find out more information about this, because we are the OG. We are the original. Nobody in the country is doing anything like this.
Yeah.
Distribution, as far as that goes, it's an important part of what I do. My wife handles the ads and the money and all the important stuff. My job is to bring it to Old Kinderhook, which we haven't mentioned. We want to thank Lance
Yes, we
Udley
do.
and
Yes.
Chris Ayers and the rest of the folks from Old Kinderhook for letting us use this great deck.
My audience is used to me doing videos here. At Old
Well, it's
Kinderhook.
close to home,
That's
right?
That's right.
But distribution, for those folks that are looking for it, go to the website. We love our website. It's fantastic, veterandiscountguide.com. There's actually a digital copy of the book in there as well. But everybody who is an advertiser, you can find a copy of the book or multiple copies of the book. So every place from Hy-Vee to Cozy Coney to Old Kinderhook to West Side Pub, and everybody who advertises. Some places we give away more magazines than others. Hy-Vee is a great place.
Depending on kind of their foot traffic.
Sure,
and sort of
right. Kinderhook, we don't see a whole lot of them going out, but people who use it take advantage of it, and that's how we distribute the magazine. We did 10,000 last year. We're going to do a little more than that this year. The website, we hope, is eventually going to be the way to kind of move that to the older crowd picks up the magazine. It seems like the younger crowd wants to have something on their phone.
Of course, yeah. You mentioned Hy-Vee, this is pretty fascinating, and I don't know how many people would even know about this, but their 2-page ad here, they talk about their store discount that they give at their grocery store, but then also that they have a 50% off, and they do this meal at their Market Grill on the 11th of every month, obviously on our Veterans Day. That's really neat, and who would know about that?
Yeah, well, we're working on it. That's one we're really proud of, because Hy-Vee didn't really have a program when we started working with them. So we
You inspired it.
We did, and we're really proud of that. And that's not the only one. We have other businesses that were maybe doing a 5%. We got them to jump up to 10%. Maybe weren't doing anything at all and thought we should. We're not giving to a veteran charity. We're going to write a check to Heroes Outreach. We're going to let people know that our owner served. You know, those are the kind of things that weren't going out. Every day we tell more people about people doing good things for veterans in the community.
That's so awesome. So this, what I'm holding here, is the 2025 version.
Yep.
It's the second edition. When does the 2026 come out?
Any day now.
We are recording this in mid-January. This will
Yeah.
probably come out sometime in February. So they'll be out by the time this video gets recorded.
We really got lucky with the timing. Right after Labor Day, we start selling. We sell until about the 1st or so of December. We put together the book, and then we think that the expo that the Camden Area Chamber is doing at the Lodge coming up in, well, it's the end of February, is a good time to kick it off, because we have a lot of expo people in here.
Awesome.
We also want to have a launch about that time too, so it's sort of the kickoff to the season. It is a yearly publication, but we don't really come out until mid-late February, but that's when people are thinking about doing stuff at the lake anyway.
Yeah.
That's sort of our big kickoff. We've got magazines still out there for you right now, but you'll pick up the 26 when you pick up a copy after you see this podcast.
Gotcha. That's fantastic. And now if somebody's watching this, didn't know about it and said, damn, I want to be involved.
Yeah.
How do they do that?
To be in the 2026, it's
Not too late.
One of the things that I was excited about with this business is we only did it once a year.
Yeah.
And it's not a hustle and grind all the time. Basically, I'm putting the magazine out. Do I get people say, I'd love to be in it, but it's too late? Yeah, that's not a terrible thing. We'll talk to you in 27. We'll be fine with that. Our Facebook page, of course, is something we like to tell people about veteran charities and veteran events and stuff like that. The website is another tool that we use as far as that goes. But as far as getting in the magazine, it's static now. We're full up for this year, which we're super excited about. It's good news, bad news. If you're hearing about it now and you wanted to get in, I'm sorry, but if your business is this successful, talk to me in 27.
Get on the list for 27.
Yeah,
but as you mentioned, you do have the digital options. Facebook, it's just called Veteran Discount Guide.
Veteran Discount Guide.
And the website again?
VeteranDiscountGuide.com.
And is that the best way to get a hold of you guys?
You can contact me at Jeff@Veteran Discount Guide. That's my email address.
Okay.
The Facebook page has got all our contact information on there as well if people are on there, and the website. I'm really excited about that website because the digital copy's in there too. If you can't pick up a copy, while you're watching this, you can go to your phone, go to VeteranDiscountGuide.com, digital copy of the book, you can see it all in there. One of the other things that we decided to do, if folks didn't get in the 26 book and we're in the 25 book, we're leaving those folks in our website. We're not taking them out because they still support veterans. They just decided it didn't work for them this year. We're fine with that.
Yeah.
But we want to have that veteran resource in our website. They gave 10% last year, couldn't afford it, couldn't figure out a way to do it this year. We still want to tell people about their business, even if it's just digitally.
That's fantastic, man. This is really cool. And I'm honored to get the opportunity to spread the word and obviously sit down with you and talk about this. It's fun to learn about people's background and not only at the lake and business, but what leads them to things like this, which you're an inspiration, man. I appreciate you.
People came through for us, and people want to tell people about their service. They want to tell people about their discount. They want to help out those veteran charities, and we're just the facilitator for that whole thing. It's been a great experience. My wife and I actually started a business together late in life. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
5 years ago. Never thought that was going to be a thing. We work together really well. She handles the business side of it and the art side of it, and I get to do stuff like this with you, Jeff, and I appreciate the time.
Appreciate you, man. Looking forward to seeing the new guide coming out soon, and hey, maybe being a part of it myself.
Well, we'd love to
I guess
have
I need
you.
to get in 2027, huh?
We'd love to have you, man.
All right,
Absolutely.
man. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, Jeff.